I'm Lee Pacchia, and you're watching The Business of Law, the only web TV show focusing on the challenges and opportunities facing the legal profession. Last week, big law powerhouse Dentons said they would no longer disclose profits per equity partner as part of their financial reports to media. This metric, known as PPEP, is rather popular among the hopeless nerds, myself included, that live and breathe law firm finance. We're going to talk to Dentons Global Chair Joe Andrew to see why they made this decision. He joins me now from the Deal's Washington, D.C. bureau. Welcome, Joe. Good to see you.
It's great to see you, too. Happy to be here.
PPEP is one of the more popular and relied upon metrics for tracking and ranking law firm performance. Why are you denying the press and public what they've come to know and love so much?
Well, I'm not sure denying would be the right word. The key here is, obviously, is that as law firms become more globalized, become more different in what they're doing, practice law in different places and different cultures, an average number that goes across those different cultures and different places means significantly less in the process. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, while there's been a lot of good that you and other journalists who cover the law have done, an emphasis simply on profitability opposed to an emphasis on other standards, whether it be quality, whether it be simply be numbers like headcount or revenue, is becoming somewhat of an obsession in the profession, and we think a very unhealthy one. In turn, and particularly our clients don't like it. Often the challenge when you talk about profitability is clients see that profit number is either money that is not invested in improved and better service for them, or money that is meaning they're simply charging them too much. So the combination of it being a less and less meaningful number, a apples and oranges comparison in so many places, as well as the fact that clients themselves focusing in on that number led us to the decision that it was simply not worthwhile to report publicly, but for those jurisdictions where we have a statutory or regulatory obligation to do so.
Right. I think that's all valid, Joe, but I got to ask, what would you rather report in terms of a metric that a law firm performance could be assessed and ranked upon? Is there some other metric out there that you think might be a better gauge of where things are?
Well, it depends what you mean by where things are. Obviously, quality metrics are the things that clients really care about, and we think that ought to be focused on. So we're very supportive of people trying to report on the different types of awards that different law firms get, chambers ratings, Lexperts ratings, all the kind of things that really go to ultimately the service we provide. Our goal, like our competitors' goal, is to try to provide the best quality service itself. The internal economics of a law firm, which can be unfortunately manipulated, as many of the banks who loan money to law firms have noted, are in and of themselves numbers that we think mean a lot less. Average profitability per equity partner simply is only valid if you're comparing two institutions that are exactly the same. Mm-hmm. If they practice in the same markets, they practice the same type of law, they're doing the same thing, you can look at one versus the other and then make a determination of which one you think is in better economic shape. But if you look at markets that are as disparate as Beijing, China, or Prague, or Almaty, clearly you're going to look at very different types of economics there, very different types of ways of practicing law, different models that can result in different levels of profitability that simply aren't measured by an average profitability per equity partner across, for example, the 75 different offices we have in 52 countries.
Yeah, so it sounds like this is more about the specific methodology rather than a referendum on ranking law firm performance as a concept in general. Would you agree with that?
Well, absolutely. Again, I think that this argument has been a little bit blown out of proportion. We've made a pretty narrow decision here, and that narrow decision is that to average the profitability of lawyers working in very different practices across very different jurisdictions in very different economic models simply does not tell you any valid or valuable information about a law firm. Mm-hmm. It's not that we think that we are somehow being mistreated by the press. We're not. We're just suggesting that as a private institution, that's a number that really doesn't tell you about not just things about us, but about any of the law firms that are similarly situated. You simply can't compare the apples to oranges when you look at law firms that practice in so many different places in different ways. I started my career at Sullivan & Cromwell as an associate, was a partner at Cadwalader. I've spent a good portion of my life inside very profitable, very successful New York-oriented firms. Even those firms do very different things in different markets, but they have some similarities about the way in which they have a leverage model, the way in which they pay associates or non-equity partners, the type of work they do. They share a set of clients as well. It's hard to imagine how information that is so easily manipulable, like an average profit per equity partner number, really would be valuable information. Unfortunately, again, as we know, it's information that because it's so manipulated, also it becomes less valuable even because the integrity of the information is somewhat questioned. So those numbers that just simply can't be as manipulated. What's your gross revenue, right? How many chambers rated lawyers do you have? What band are they in? Those are outside, third-party verifiable numbers. We think those are the kinds of things that people really ought to concentrate on.
Joe, your firm's name often comes up in merger discussions. Of course, you've completed several significant mergers over the last couple of years. I got to ask, is Dentons still in merger mode? Do you see your firm getting involved in another deal, say, before the end of the year?
We certainly are going to get involved in deals all across the world. As we've said, we've tried to position ourselves as the first truly polycentric law firm, a law firm that's not based in the United Kingdom or the United States, a law firm that has no flag, that like the big four accounting firms does not have one nationality, but rather tries to attract our clients by explaining that we have expertise not just in a substantive area, not just in the business they're in, but also in the geography that a deal might be done in or a dispute might need to be solved in as well. Because of that, we focus on whole firm combinations to try to get a broader base of that talent we're looking for in any jurisdiction where our clients are. Doesn't mean that we have to be everywhere. That's certainly not the goal, but we know that we do need to be in more places we are, and that our preferred method of doing that is not by sending people from London or New York, but rather trying to take a whole firm that really is in and of the community in which it serves. So as we look at jurisdictions both that we're currently in, whether it is Europe or Canada or the United States or in Asia, or jurisdictions we hope to grow in, like Latin America and portions of Southeast Asia, you can assume that we'll focus first and try to exhaust the opportunity of having a whole firm combination.
Yeah, Joe, it's been said before many times that growth in big law is simply dead after the great legal recession of 2008. I suspect you would disagree with that statement. If so, where are you expecting to find growth in coming months and years?
Well, if you look at just the growth rate that some of the largest law firms in the world have had between, for example, both 2005 and 2009 before the crisis, but then the growth rate that took back up again in about 2011 to 2012, that same growth rate will produce law firms that are about twice the size that they are today over the next 5 to 10 years as well. Clearly, there may be a limit based on conflicts and other issues, but I think we're far from it. If you look at the market share, for example, of not just the big four accounting firms, but even just the big 10 accounting firms, the next one of them, almost all of them have significantly higher market share than any one law firm has in this process. So I think we're far away from what you'll see as the ultimate size of law firms. And as clients continue to globalize, as clients have more needs in more places, and more needs means they need more different varied areas of expertise, more different varied businesses, more different industrial sectors the client is coming from, let alone geography. All of that means you're going to have significantly larger law firms in the future.
Joe, thank you for your time today, sir.
Really appreciate it.
That's Joe Andrew, Global Chair of Dentons. If you'd like to see more of the stuff we're working on, be sure to go check us out on YouTube, and you can always, of course, follow us on Twitter. I'm Lee Pacchia. Thanks for watching.